Hi, welcome to this third look at the Christmas 2022 weather prospects. Now, in recent days, it has turned a good deal colder right across the United Kingdom. But at the time of filming this video, there are still 15 sleeps until the big day itself. A very, very long time in terms of the UK's weather. Will the cold conditions last until December the 25th or not? Before I jump into the forecast itself, a quick reminder of what a white Christmas is. The Met Office defines a white Christmas as one snowflake observed falling within the 24 hours of the 25th of December at the given location. In other words, it could stay completely green on the ground, no accumulations at all, and still technically be classified as a white Christmas. Very important to bear that in mind. Okay, into the forecast itself, and I'll just take a quick look initially at the Weather Analog Index. This is generated by looking at pressure patterns across the Northern Hemisphere in recent days and comparing them to years gone by, and in turn trying to find the best matches. Here are the top 10 at the time of filming. This is based on the 7-day tracker, and very interestingly, 1978 is leading the list. A famous year, the winter of 1978-79, the third coldest of the 20th century. Lots of industrial unrest, just like at the present time. Are we in for a repeat of it or not? Well, as I say, it was a very, very cold winter indeed, but Christmas Day itself, not much snow around. Cold air just making it there into northern Scotland, but milder as you headed southwards. But look what happened just a few days later. Bitterly cold air flooding across from the east, low pressure tracking into Europe over the English Channel, blizzards and heavy snow affecting much of southern Britain. I think that was on the 31st of December, so New Year's Eve. Not a white Christmas for most that year, but very, very cold just a few days later with widespread snow in the south. Wouldn't it be interesting if we had a repeat of something like that this time? Okay, looking at the ensemble data now. So this is actual computer model predictions of what will be happening as we go towards Christmas Day itself. So it's not looking at years gone by. It's generated by taking data which represents the current state of the atmosphere and then applying lots of physics to it, run by supercomputers across the national forecasting centres, in turn producing possible weather scenarios. Here is the GFS Ensemble. So this is run in the United States, goes out to 16 days ahead on this plot. The chart is for London, and the top half shows air temperatures at about 1,500 metres above sea level. In the short term, I've shaded it out, but you can see most of the runs there well below the 30-year average, which is this thick black line, indicating the cold period, which we're in the midst of now. But then it warms up, or at least it turns milder. However, by around the 23rd of December, just on the edge of the plot there, the thick purple line, the ensemble mean, is dipping below the thick black line, the 30-year average, so it's turning colder again. Lots of the individual runs in the ensemble are bringing back lower temperatures, at least at this level, 1,500 metres or so above our heads, just in time for Christmas. Along the very bottom, the snow row, the number of runs in the ensemble forecasting snow on a given day. The maximum value it can take is 33. It's very low though by Christmas Day, just 2 at the moment. But with the chance of it turning colder increasing once again, it's quite possible that as the time approaches, those snow row values could start to increase. Well worth keeping an eye on. The European ensemble, very, very similar to the one run in the United States. A lot of people think the European ensemble is a little bit better than the American one. There isn't a great deal of difference, so in practice, the similar pattern here is being shown, so turning milder around the 17th, 18th, 19th of December, and then as Christmas Day approaches, just on the extreme edge of the graph there, most of the runs, or at least a lot of them, are dipping downwards again. colder air beginning to return. Now, temperatures up aloft at 1500 meters or so above our heads are not always reflected down at the surface, but that's why this is a good graph to take a look at, because it is showing the forecast temperatures from all the runs in the ensemble down at the ground level, so the ones we experience. That warmer or milder period there is being shown quite clearly. Lots of the individual runs climbing from a low base earlier on. A big spread by Christmas Day itself, just on the extreme edge of the graph there. But lots of the individual runs are bringing back colder weather. Very, very interesting. So the milder spell being signalled quite clearly, but as I say, an increasing sign there of temperatures dipping again by December the 25th. Going up to Glasgow to see the situation in the northwest, a similar profile, turning milder, at least for a time, although not to the same extent as in the south. It's suggesting that cold conditions are more likely to cling on in the northern half of the UK than they are in the south. And likewise, a signal for it to turn colder around 24th or 25th of December is a little bit stronger than it is in the south, although not a great deal of difference. The snow row across the bottom, at the very end there, 4 or 5 on Christmas Day, also pointing towards a low chance of snow falling. That could increase, of course, as I say, if more and more runs go into the colder category in the coming days. The European ensemble for Glasgow, very, very similar, consistent with the GFS, adding at least a little bit of confidence to the likelihood of it turning colder once more for the Christmas period. 2 meter temperatures for Glasgow from the GEFS, a big spread at the end, like there was on the London plot. A lot of runs, though, suggesting that the trend is downwards. Possibly, as I say, we could be in for a cold Christmas if this data is right. I just wanted also to take a look at the GFS deterministic model run from this morning. So generated on Saturday, the 10th of December, just before I filmed the video. As I say, it is just a snapshot, totally unreliable when looking more than maybe 5 or 7 days ahead, but interesting nonetheless. Also, it's worth bearing in mind that this model is run every 6 hours and at longer ranges, so 10 days or more. There is a lot of volatility, so it's quite possible that the next update is going to be showing something totally different, much milder. But this one is going for a cold Christmas Day, high pressure just to the west of the UK, and cold air moving down its eastern side. The plot on the right there shows 850 HPA temperatures, so again at about 1500 meters above sea level, and the blue shading is indicating colder than the 30-year average. If it's correct, it's cold enough for snow anywhere in the UK. And if I just step aside, here are the precipitation type charts and 2 meter maximum temperature ones from that same model run. A very cold Christmas Day being forecast by this snapshot. And the white shading there on the left indicates snow. So many places could see a few flakes if it's right, but it's mostly in Scotland and in coastal counties. I suspect inland areas would have a lot of dry, bright and crisp weather. Cold, but fine on Christmas Day if it was correct, with snow mostly in Scotland and coastal counties. But that really is just for fun because it's just a one-off snapshot, deterministic. Back to the ensemble data, so where the model is run many times with the starting conditions varied slightly just to help account for uncertainty. Here are the 2 meter maximum temperature forecasts from each of the runs in the GEFS on Christmas Day. So the temperatures down at the surface rather than aloft. And you can freeze frame it if you like and count them yourselves, but approximately 58% of these are pointing towards a cold Christmas in the north and around 48% in the south. So it is quite a high chance of being colder than average on December the 25th, at least according to the ensemble data, which has been generated just at the moment. What about snow? Using the postage stamps again, so the GEFS runs here all been reflected in the individual frames. Sunday the 25th of December, midday. Not that many are forecasting snow despite the relatively cold conditions that many are going for. In other words, I would say it's a low to moderate chance of snow falling. Generally, it's higher in the north than in the south, but it's not out of the question anywhere. I think really at this range, it's more important to be looking at the temperature trends, whether it's going to be cold or mild, than the precipitation ones, which are a lot more volatile and unpredictable. I would suggest that the chance of colder than average conditions gives a reasonable base for at least the possibility of there being some snow around. But at this range, there isn't any sign of a widespread snow event affecting Britain on Christmas Day. So, to summarise things, it's still too early to be confident about how things will develop, but computer models are suggesting milder weather returning around the 17th. But temperatures could well be dipping by the big day itself. Cold air may return for Christmas. The analogues are mixed. The 7-day tracker is being led at the moment by 1978, a very, very cold winter across the UK, but a green Christmas for many. The snow arrived just a few days later. I think, therefore, the chance of a cold Christmas is quite high, but widespread snow is much less likely. Nonetheless, there is time for things to change, and as I said, it's easier to really try and identify temperature, probabilities and trends and precipitation ones. If it is cold by Christmas Day, snow cannot be ruled out. So, there we have it. I've finally dug out my Santa hat, which was given to me in December 1995. That turned out to be the snowiest Christmas that I've experienced in the UK, and ever since then this has been my lucky charm. I'm hoping it's going to bring me some snow this year, but we'll see how things develop. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. As ever, if you did, then please remember to hit the like and subscribe buttons below. Thanks for watching now. Bye.